So I'm making a video a little earlier today than usual, but anyway, so I'm driving to work and I get a text from Magnificent, and he's like, hey, I'm sorry what happened to your family at Disneyland. And I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, oh, you must have accidentally sent the wrong text. And he's like, no, like, it's the Disneyland brawl, check it out. And I was like, what? So of course I had to check it out. And it was this, from what I was told, my mom, I called my mom after we were talking about it. She said it was a family that were fighting. It was this family that were fighting in Toontown, of all places where there are a bunch of little kids at Disneyland. And it was just so embarrassing. And I think that, you know, as a black person, I was like, damn, that just makes us look so bad, right? They're gonna be people piling on and being like, oh, those violent black people. Black people are always, you know, doing stuff like that. But it's so funny because I know by now that every race does this. I forgot something happened, and I think it was Mexicans that were doing something. I forgot exactly what it was, but then there was somebody that was a Mexican, and they were like, damn, man, that just makes us look so bad. And I was like, oh shit, I thought black people were the only I was like, oh, I guess everybody does do that. I guess everybody does kind of have that in the back of their mind when, you know, people that physically look like them are caught doing something bad, and they kind of feel guilty and think that, you know, it reflects on all of them. Which some people, you know, that are narrow-minded, they're going to be like, oh, all those violent black people. But I think most people will, by now, be just like, oh, it was that family, you know, that, you know, whatever their issues were. Man, it was so pathetic. There was a little kid running around and just like, what's going on? And little babies and stuff in the family. Man, it was so frustrating. But the thing that really pisses me off is the fact that, like, why is this getting more coverage than the Antifa people that beat up the reporter? Like, why? I mean, it's entertaining, it's petty, it's, you know, it's shocking, but then, you know, I've watched it and then I'm over it, because they're not, you know, terrorizing people, they're not taking over a whole city. And what made me think about it was after we were talking about violence and fighting, and then I was telling my mom about, like, the Antifa terrorist group, which are mostly white people, by the way. And you know what, it doesn't really have, I mean, I'm not like hating on white people, but if you're that type of person that wants to, like, categorize violence by how violent people are, then look at Antifa, because they're white. So why aren't they getting the coverage for the violence that's being portrayed, right? But I'm just talking about, so leaving race aside, I'm just talking about violence in general, okay? Saying, why isn't Antifa, and the reason I brought this up is because I was talking to my mom, and I was telling her about the Andy No incident that just happened. And then she didn't even know about it. And she was like, oh, well, you know, maybe the mainstream media doesn't know. I was like, Mom, they know, they just don't want to cover it. Like, why are they, like, how is this family that's not a threat to the country, that's not terrorizing people, that gets in a petty brawl at Disneyland, why is that getting more coverage than these fucking asshole terrorists that are beating up people? I mean, there's a plethora of footage of these assholes. You know, first of all, when they, you know, Milo came and, you know, spoke, they, you know, there was $100,000 in damage done in Berkeley because they were setting stuff on fire, wrecking ATM machines and throwing, like, Molotov cocktails and breaking windows with crowbars and stuff. And, you know, they were doing that. There was that professor that hit that dude in the head with the bike lock. You know, that was a girl that was, like, standing up being interviewed, and this asshole just fucking pepper sprays her out of nowhere. Then you have the Andy No incident, and he's walking away. He's not even you know, he's a small guy. He didn't physically attack anybody. They're just beating him in the head and stuff, and he's walking away, and they're still just piling on him. You know, why isn't that getting the coverage that this family's getting? That's the thing that really concerns me, because these motherfucking assholes, Antifa, are a threat to this country. And then I just happened to see a video with Joe Rogan, and I think think it was like Eric Weinstein, and they were talking about it, and I fucking hate how intellectuals try and like make excuses for this shit. It's so infuriating, right? So they were like, I don't, Joe was like, I don't understand, like, there's fringes on both sides. No, there's fucking not. Show me the plethora of videos where the right is being violent. Show me, because I've looked for them, honestly. I've looked. There's much more evidence and many more videos of the left doing horrible, violent things to innocent people, right? Please, somebody in the comments, if I'm wrong, please show me the videotapes of the right people doing like attacking citizens. Please, where is it? Show it to me. And usually when I've asked for that, people are like, oh, what about the bomb? The guy that sent the bomb? I was like, you mean the fake bombs that didn't go off? You mean the guy that was living in a van supposedly for 2 years with stickers on his vans that were new, that didn't have like sun damage, that weren't faded out? I don't believe that shit. It's basically, in that situation, it's basically, the news telling us what to believe, and we have to believe them. It's not really any solid evidence that this guy was even a right-winger, that anybody did anything wrong. And then the guy that shot up the synagogue, he even said on his Instagram, I think it was Instagram or his Twitter, that he hated Trump. He wasn't a Trump supporter. He never touched a Trump hat, and he hated Trump because he supported Israel. So I don't see, like, those are usually the two examples of like, oh, that dude that shut up the synagogue and the guy that like sent the fake bombs. Are you fucking kidding me? Okay, those aside, if you want to use those, send me some more info showing me the violence that the right has portrayed, right? And honestly, even with the Charlottesville situation, like, what happened was, people were mad that Trump said that there was violence on both sides. How dare he say that? Well, technically, it was violence on both sides, but technically, the left started the violence, because tiki torches aren't intimidating. If people want to march with tiki torches and shit, let them fucking march as long as they're not hurting anybody. The violence started when those motherfuckers Antifa showed up, and they started, like, they had, like, they were making blow torches out of, like, spray cans and, like, lighters, and throwing urine and feces on people and spraying people with pepper spray, right? Like, and then the right was reacting to the violence, and then all the mainstream media's cameras turned on them, and then they just, conveniently cut out all the crazy shit that the Antifa people were doing to people, and just made it look like the left was, like, starting the violence. And plus, the right was starting the violence, and plus it was the right's rally. The left people fucking showed up there. They weren't invited. Why did they need to show up there? I'm so sick of this hypocrisy. And then just getting back to Joe Rogan, like, he was like, oh, well, it's just the fringes. No, it's not the fucking fringes, because the mayor and other people in politics are telling police to stand down and letting innocent people get hurt, right? They were directing traffic in Portland, okay? These assholes, I can't wait. They're gonna get their fucking karma. And my friend was telling me he was at a party the other day in Houston, and this guy was like openly bragging that he was an Antifa member, and I was like, you better be glad that I wasn't there, because I probably would have said something. And depending on the mood, I either would have been like, if I was in a good mood, I would have been like, what are you doing? You're wasting your life. You're gonna get either, eventually you keep hanging out with people like that, you're going to get either put in jail, or you're going to get seriously hurt. You're going to get seriously hurt, or either go to jail. Because I know there are a lot of people that are watching Antifa right now, and they're just waiting. They're making strategies to tactically take them down, or they're going to just show up one day and beat the shit out of them. There are people that are just waiting. It's stewing, it's steaming, it's brewing. Okay? And these little fuckers, these little kids are going to get their asses broken. Okay, and then it's not going to be fun and games anymore. But I just hate when people like, and I like Joe Rogan a lot. I learn a lot from his show. But I think I just get frustrated when people try and take the middle ground when there is no middle ground. Like, sometimes there's a middle ground, and then sometimes there isn't. And in this case with the Antifas and the violence and shit, there isn't. Because I haven't seen enough evidence on the right to prove that the right is the, like, their fringes on the right, okay, that are causing violence and are the threat. It's the left. This time in history, it's the left. And you know, go back to history when the KKK was running rampant, they were leftists too. So the Nazis were leftists, you know. They were socialist, you know. I mean, I don't really like all the you know, it's in history actually does prove it. It's really come from the left. So I don't really understand this whole thing about like trying to be fair and like be like, oh, it's on both sides. No, it's fucking not. It's not. It's really not. It's not. Right? Well, a lot of people aren't even on the left because they tried to stand their middle ground like me, and they got pushed over to the right by these fucking assholes. So I don't really I don't know, it's just really frustrating. I don't know if they're scared to like don't be fucking scared. Just take a position, okay? Take a position. Because until I said, like, all right, send me the footage, show me the evidence of the right, you know, when not a hate crime hoax, you know, not you know, like real video, right? Because there's real video of lots and lots of video of these people actually physically hurting people, you know, that are even neutral, that aren't even right-wingers, and they're like, we're fighting fascists. And then I think it was the Daily Caller, he was going around interviewing Antifa, and they're like, hey, you know, he was like, hey, what do you think of like the attack that happened on Andy? No, and none of them condemned it, and they said that's what he gets, he's a right-wing journalist. And there was one bitch who was like, well, he's a fascist, and fascists need to be fought. And I was like, you mean like you? So you need to be fought? You need to be attacked? You need to be attacked because your violence, it's just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. And I know I'm gonna have to send my mom some of these videos, because the thing that's unbelievable is just the fact that like the mainstream media is just creating this narrative, and people like my mom, like, they just don't know. They're just like, oh, well, I watch the news and this is what I see, so I think this is what's going on. But thank God for alternative media, because if we didn't have alternative media, then whether it's, you know, or like more professional or alternative media, or it's just people with their videos, video camera, or with their phones recording stuff, we wouldn't know any of this was happening. And I think this is really frustrating to me too, just having friends outside of the United States. You know, they're able to paint this narrative even easier, because people outside of the United States definitely get mainstream news and not alternative news. You know, they watch CNN and BBC, and you know, and I would tell my students to watch that before I understood how corrupt it was, just to practice their English. So they think they're getting like this, you know, very balanced worldview by watching these news stations, and it's all manipulated. And now they're just, you know, kind of repeat like robots. They're like, oh, like, you know, oh, well, I saw this on BBC and CNN, and, you know, I read National Geographic and Scientific American, and all those fucking, they're all like, they all have an agenda. They're very biased, and they're not balanced. So it seems like I was gonna see something else, but this video is kind of getting a little bit too long. But yeah, it just really frustrated me that basically that, you know, that this family is getting all this attention, and it's petty. But, you know, they're the, like, people that are really causing real damage, real violence is not. And I'm hoping some people go and check this out. By the time I put this video up, I don't know if I will have the links ready, but I'll see if I can find some links today. But if you guys are watching this video, like, and you don't know about this, Google Andy, ANDYNGO, Google reporter gets attacked by Antifa, leftist attacks, and, you know, some of you people in the comment section, please help me out. Oh yeah, and then I won't be able to disable or enable the comments until I get home, but still make comments. I don't know what's going on. I think, I don't know if YouTube is messing around with my channel. I think that they have trying to say? They've made it so if I upload a video from my phone, I can't enable the comments unless I'm on my desktop or laptop. So sometimes if you guys are making comments and they're not showing up, that's right away, that's why. But I'll usually enable them in a few hours when I get home. But that's it. Let me know your thoughts. Crazy times we're living in. All right, peace, truth, and love, you guys. Bye.